Good afternoon on this 28th day of Level 4 lockdown in Cape Town, a wet and wintry day. My name is Mark Long, rector of the parish of St Andrew in Newlands. Today's Eucharist readings, which will come as no surprise to you at all at this point, are from Acts and the Gospel of John. We're in John 17. We've been there for a couple of days. In fact, we got into John 17 on Sunday. It's a passage often referred to as the high priestly prayer. Jesus prays for himself and he prays for his disciples. And in today's passage, that's included us as well, as Jesus prays for those who will come to belief without actually ever having seen him or heard him or been part of his ministry. And on one level, I find that hugely encouraging and encompassing, that Jesus had this broad vision for life and for the kingdom of God in this world and for what God was up to in his creation. And so this prayer for unity is an important one. As I mentioned in my Sunday sermon, too often we think of unity or oneness as a kind of space of complete agreement, a place where you believe exactly what I believe, in which there's in fact no room for any sense of diversity. That's kicked out the door. I cannot believe, in the context of everything else that we have read in John over the last weeks, that would have been a thought anywhere near Jesus at the point that he's praying this prayer. Oneness is something we need to think about. Unity. What does it really mean for us? And particularly, of course, as people of faith, but it impacts on our attitudes, it impacts on the way we live with others, it impacts on our perceptions and expectations. To see unity as often I think we do, that you must believe what I believe, that we have no room for diversity. Diversity is kicked out the door, that we only see things in one way, just doesn't hold for me. We live in a world that has a great deal of diversity. And as much as I like order, life has a great amount of chaos too. And it's that diversity and chaos, I think, that adds the spice to life. If we all thought the same, looked the same, behaved the same, if every tree looked the same, every blade of grass looked the same, every flower looked the same, life would be incredibly boring. But there is this wonderful sense of chaos and beauty out there. And that is part of the gift of God's creation, the gift of life to us. And so one of the big challenges is how do we deal with that? I think we've all been in meetings or maybe even family conversations where there's been disagreement. And we know how difficult that can be. But we've also been in conversations where we've been able to reach a consensus. And that consensus is not founded on a complete agreement, but on recognizing a way forward. And so linked to this is having a sense of vision, and with that a sense of purpose, certainly in terms of faith and being about the things of God in our world. And so my question to myself, as much as to you, I think, is what is that sense of purpose and vision that we have for our world? Joan Chittister, and it's in her book, In Search of Belief, makes a very interesting concept, and it's useful in this, or comment, it's useful in this time of Eastertide, as we've been embracing resurrection and encounters with resurrection in Jesus' life and interaction with the disciples. She says, death makes life possible. Resurrection makes life worthwhile. The growth into God for which we were born and in which process we labor even now. And so, have I? Do we know that our lives are worthwhile? Has the little deaths in our lives, or even the big deaths, enabled us to embrace the possibilities and opportunities that resurrection and new life have brought to us? And are we open to exploring that within the diversity and chaos of life in which God has placed us and in which we live daily?